You're listening to the Oklahoma Onstage podcast, where we sit down with people from the bustling theater scene in the great state of Oklahoma. We hope you enjoy your time with us. If you do, please share the podcast with those you know. If you'd like to know more about who we are and what we do, visit us on Facebook or Instagram, or go to our website, oklahomaonstage.org. Now, hang on to your hat. We're starting another episode right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to Oklahoma On Stage. As always, I'm Tim. I'm your host, and we are continuing our series on Oklahoma theater educators. Today, we're sitting down with an artist whose career spans New York stages, television sets, historic commemorations, and classrooms in Tulsa. She has spent more than 20 years performing, choreographing, that's a big word, directing and teaching. And she brings a rare blend of professional rigor and deep compassion to every room she enters. She's worked in movement, anatomy, and performer wellness. She's contributed to projects tied to the Tulsa Race Massacre Memorial, and now she's shaping the next generation as the artistic director of Riverfield Theater Company, where she's helped build one of the most ambitious and fast-growing programs in the state. We're going to talk about the journey, the work, the return home, and the incredible momentum that she's created at Riverfield. So, Oklahoma On Stage family, please join me in welcoming Marta Reiman to the podcast, the stage. We're not on a stage, so I had everything going, and it was just all kind of blended together. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I wasn't sure if we would mention this or not, but I think we have to. Marta and I have sat down previously, had a wonderful conversation. She was one of the first interviews that I did, was the actual first interview that I did face to face.
Right.
And actually ended up with like 2 hours of footage, to which about a week later when I sat down to edit, it just went poof and was gone. I totally felt like a heel, definitely felt like an amateur at that point. And so told her I needed to have her back on. She said, whenever you're ready, let's do it. Now we have a perfect opportunity, a perfect stage for her, and we've welcomed her back. So thank you for giving us that opportunity again.
Of course.
So as we do with everybody, and much like we did before, we're going to just jump into your roots and your story. How did you get started in theater?
Oh, I don't think I had a choice. My parents are both actors and theater makers, and I was on stage, I think, for the first time when I was 5 at Theater Tulsa at the Delaware Playhouse. And yeah, I've just never not been in the theater. I was born into it.
That's a great story. And we get all of them, all kinds. We have people that are literally from the moment they started walking, they were on stage, to others and we encourage everybody that some of the most successful actors don't discover it until they're 40, 50 years old. And, so it takes all kinds. And so, I love it. So was there a moment early on when you realized this is more than just a hobby, but this is actually who I am?
I never thought of it as a hobby. That's hard to answer. I guess, I started as I was the dancer in the family. I started really, training as a dancer from, 2 years old. And when I was about 16, I was going to Tulsa Central High School at the time, and my uncle happened to be the theater teacher there. He's sort of also the reason I went to that school, I think, other than the fact that we lived in that neighborhood. But Yeah, he was in the first class at Juilliard, Larry Ryman. And so he started me on really sort of more serious theater and acting work. I went from doing things like Charlotte's Web to Shakespeare and Neil Simon and things like that. So yeah, so I kind of fell in love with it, and then he had a connection to an old OU theater classmate, David Monti, who was the artistic director at uh for the theater program at Interlochen Arts Academy in Michigan. And so um they had some extra scholarship money available, and it was like July and they hadn't filled the program, and he said, to my uncle, if you have any students that you think are really good, he goes, well, I'd say my strongest student is my niece, and I promise I'm not biased. But I'll do a video of her and video audition and send it in, and I got in. So that was a life-changing moment.
And how old were you when you went to Interlochen?
16.
Wow.
So yeah, so boarding school for junior, senior year of high school.
Okay.
It was the best possible thing that could have ever happened to me at that moment in time. Um, I could have easily gone down some bad paths if I'd stuck around here, So that's what got me started. And then from there I went to the University of Hartford, the Hart School, which is a conservatory style BFA program in Hartford, Connecticut. That was wonderful. And I have very fond memories there. I just went back for my 20-something reunion, and it was fantastic. It was so much fun. It was so great to see so many faculty members still alive and well and working in the theater, and many other, classmates who are still working professionally or have made the jump as I have into teaching as well. So yeah. I feel like I went on a tangent, and I'm not sure if I finished where I was going.
This is
But,
your story.
Yeah, University of Hartford. Yeah.
Okay.
And studied classically there, got to spend a semester in England and did nothing but Shakespeare in our training for about a year.
Nice.
So I have a big love of Shakespeare, and I just finished my Shakespeare unit with my students, which is also sort of why I'm on that vein right now.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get your BFA. Where'd you go from there?
Well, I started working professionally before I graduated. I started working at Hartford Stage Company and Hartford Theater Works. Hartford Stage is an actor. Hartford Theater Works, I assistant directed a production of the Credo Canvas there with Rob Agerio at one point in time. But yeah, so I started getting equity points before I even left Hartford, and I finished a production of Night of the Iguana right after I'd graduated college. And then right after that moved to New York City and just started figuring out how to be an adult with no money in your pocket and, no way to escape the decisions I had already made. And so I just went for it, and everything has turned out quite well.
Do you remember your first show in New York City?
Yes. It was not my first children's theater production, but it was my last. I went, this is not for me. But yeah, it was, God, what? It was an original piece. I played a goblin. There was dancing. I don't remember what it was about. Yeah. No.
Burnout.
That's all I got. I know it was on West Broadway. That's all I know.
Okay. All right. So you realized children's theater wasn't your thing.
Right.
So where'd you go from there?
I mean, sort of the whole time I was, those first few years in New York, figuring it out, I was auditioning for everything I could get my hands on, whether it be theater or film or music videos, or I just was nonstop doing whatever kind of fell in my lap or whatever auditions I could find. Yeah. And I did, luckily, I because of my start at Hartford Stage Company, I, for a 22-year-old, had a pretty decent resume moving to New York, and then, still had some connections there. But I tended to work regionally, so in equity theater houses. So I worked quite a bit in Florida and Arizona and New Jersey and Pennsylvania and, kind of all around New York.
So definitely different regions.
Yeah. Yeah. And would spend, 3 to 6 months in whatever place rehearsing. They put you up in here's a car and here's an apartment. And, as a 20-something-year-old, I'm like, oh my God, got a married. That is the dream. That was the dream. Yeah. 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 So I continued doing that and met my husband. He's in the next big step, I would say, in that history. We met doing a play called The Jazz Age. It was the workshop theater production of it. It was the very first ever sort of workshop production of it. It was written by Alan Nee. You might know, I'd say the thing that he's probably most well known for is writing the book of Little Women.
Okay.
The musical. And yeah, lovely, wonderful writer. And PJ and I met on that and quickly, madly, well, we're separated for 6 months because I had another date. And he stayed in town, but we fell in love and yeah, and then we moved in together, and then it got really hard. It's hard to sublet half of your marital bed, essentially. So I was not able financially to continue doing regional theater work as much. But yeah.
Now he's still involved, like
God.
in the technical arts, right? He does video and movies and things like
Oh,
that.
yeah, he's a filmmaker. He's a professional actor.
And he operates here in Tulsa as well, correct?
He does. We were it's a long story, but we had to move like 3 times in 2020, 3 different states, ended up back in my hometown of Tulsa, and one of the good things that came out of the pandemic is that you can kind of live anywhere now and still have a career, whereas before it used to be like New York, LA, Chicago, or, bust.
Right.
Essentially, in terms of big auditions and that kind of thing. And now that you can send in video auditions, it's all changed, which is great. So we decided to live here. I was accepted into the Tulsa remote program, which kind of sealed the deal for me. And then my daughter also got into like her top choice school here. So that was also a major deciding factor. And since we got here, I mean, the whole family has just been happier in a lot of ways. So, I mean, it took a while for him to find his footing professionally down here.
Now, is he from New York?
He's from New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this a little bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, although, we'd been together for quite a while. So it's, he knew Tulsa fairly well at that point because he'd been here a handful of times at least. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd say the hardest part about leaving New York was just leaving this network of people and friends that friends that I have there that are my closest friends. I went to Interlochen with, and then the Hart School with, and then, we still proceeded to hang out for the 2 decades
Just
we
got
were in New York
migrated
together,
together.
and kind of, yeah. It's slightly different times, but all pretty much within a year of each other, and yeah.
Well,
So
it's good to have that connection and have that group,
yeah,
the support system.
yeah. So that's what I really miss about New York. But since I've started working at Riverfield, I feel like I've sort of found my group of friends here, and my colleagues here are amazing, and I would consider most of them friends as well. So
The pandemic brought you back to Oklahoma.
It did.
I remember you saying that your mother still lived here, and so you had connections here.
Yeah, my mom and my dad still lived here.
So
Yeah.
you come back here. How did you land when you got back to Oklahoma? Where did you start when you got here?
Well, before I got here, I was already working on Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial projects and had grants for that with my longtime friend, Patrice Armour. We had started a theater company together just really to be able to sort of tell this story and honor this work about the Tulsa Race Massacre and to bring some awareness to it. Artistically, that project was not anywhere near what I wanted it to be, but because we had left New York in a very traumatic and toxic situation, it was kind of having that to work on already, I would say saved my life in a lot of ways. Definitely helped me heal the PTSD of that year a lot faster. Planning, um, biologically speaking, helps with the nervous system in that way for some reason. But anyway, that's a side note.
Well,
But
just having something to shift gears.
right, and something to focus on, right?
You lived the dream, as you say.
Yeah, and I never in a million years wanted to move back to Oklahoma.
And then
Never.
the pandemic really brought everything to a screeching halt.
It really did.
And so when your dream dies, in essence, at that moment,
You got to pivot. And we also had a 3-year-old at the time, you know what I mean? So like living in tight quarters in the city was like, no, we're going to die. She's
Yeah.
going to touch everything and stick it in her mouth. And like, we're nobody had knew at that point what this was. And
right.
we had gone up to my mother-in-law's house in the Catskills, because we went every other weekend anyway, because she was getting up there in her 90s. And we went on our usual Thursday trip out of town, and I just had a feeling. I was like, I don't think we're coming back. And that was kind of the day it all went down in the city. I remember riding into Manhattan, because we were living in Jersey City at the time, riding into Manhattan on the train and seeing like maybe 4 or 5 people with masks on. And I was like, oh, we really doing this? And then sitting at work, and it was a slow day, and I was just reading through all these articles about it, and I definitely like
Just kept getting worse. And
grabbed some masks at work and wore them. Oh, you know what I mean? And then we left that night or the next day and never, essentially never came back. Came back to move, and that was it. So
yeah, you had a little bit of a mattress to land on when you got here.
yeah. My dad was like, "Here, take my house. I'm going to go work other places." So that kind of worked out.
So let's
yeah.
talk a little bit about that race massacre project that you
Yeah.
were working on.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So when I had first learned about the Tulsa Race Massacre, I was in college. I want to say it was like early 2000s. And having grown up in North Tulsa and having gone to Emerson Elementary School and having what I thought as a white person was a fairly extensive, Black American history education, I was just appalled to learn that this horrific thing had happened literally on the land where I grew up going to school every day and had no idea of it.
Yeah.
And it felt like such a betrayal. And I know a lot of people have said that. But I mean, that's also, the privilege that I come from, that I didn't have grandparents who talked about it. I didn't have, it wasn't something that I knew about.
Yeah.
Because I was privileged enough to not have to know about it. And so in 2003, I'd read this book, by Relis Askew, Fire and Beulah. And I just fell in love with it. And it was about the massacre, and the characters were so richly defined, and the language in the book was just so, it was just one of those books that when you read it, you just see the movie of it in your mind,
I love when writers write visually.
Oh my God.
It's just
She's a beautiful writer. Yeah. And it happens that she knew my parents. And so I had sent her a couple letters over the years just being like, I love this book. It's amazing. You should make it into a film. She's like, oh, I'm working on it with somebody over here. And, and then that kind of, I guess, at some point fizzled out. And then later I just thought, God, I want to say it was 2017, 2018. I was still living in New York, but Patrice wasn't. And I'm like, have you heard anyone talking about doing anything for the centennial? Like, it's coming up and there doesn't seem to be any talk of it.
Right.
And she said no. And I was like, we have to do something. And I just thought, and I reached out to Rilla and I said, just as a creative exercise, like I've never really written. I've dabbled with writing scenes and things, but I'd never really committed to writing something. But I knew I could obsess about this particular story, that my brain wasn't gonna. There was just an obsession I had with it. So I was able to hyper-focus, and I said, can I just try this? And she said, yeah, go for it. Just as a creative exercise. Absolutely. And then that idea just kind of continued. And, there was a lot of encouragement and a lot of sort of crazy things that happened and people that reached out that had connections to the novel or to what had happened. And it just felt like something I had to do, like deep in my gut. Like there was something else leading me to do something at this moment in time. And I was a new mom and I had time to write. And so I wrote. And yeah. And so ultimately, I think what I wish would have happened with the project is that I would have just kept working on the writing side of it. Like, I don't think it was really ready for anything around it to be produced yet when we did it. And it was also like that weird time of the pandemic where we're like, is it over? Is it not over? Can we really plan theater now? Probably not. Like, can we get people together at least in a room with masks on to watch something on a screen? Yeah, that's probably the safer option. That's probably all we can plan for at this point because we just didn't know, what the hell was going on yet. And so, we did the best we could with what we had. And my personal goal was just like to see whatever this was all the way through and to not give up. And because often I would start these sort of creative journeys and get so freaked out or so perfectionistic about them that I would just give up before I got to any type of endpoint,
Sure.
So I am proud of myself that I didn't give up on this project. That said, the dream of some white girl in early 2003 versus, 2021, the world has changed a lot. And through this process, I learned a lot as a white woman. And I helped educate other white people. That was my goal, was educating other white people because we're the problem, we're the perpetrators of the systems that support and benefit from, white supremacy. So, so I'm proud of those aspects of what we did. Artistically, it was not my best acting, directing, or producing, and not that I directed it. But producing and acting, it wasn't. I was spread too thin. I was too in survival mode at that point. And I looking back, everyone who was in on that project was in this same weird survival mode and not doing their best work.
Right.
So we did what we could, and I think some good came of it, certainly. But
so have you thought about reproducing it?
No, God, no. No, it's done. We learned what we needed to learn. And it's what I learned was that as a white person, I don't need to tell this story. This isn't my story to tell.
Right.
In a way,
That was my next
We've
question.
done that. We've had, white people telling Black stories for a very long time. How about let's give people of color the platform to tell their own stories?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that was kind of my next question is did that affect you in any way, being a white person trying to tell the story of so many voices that can't speak for themselves now?
I don't know how to answer that. Or I feel like I already answered that.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, it wasn't your story to tell.
Yeah.
So
I mean, in that I was a Tulsa person.
Yeah.
It was, and that I grew up in the way that I grew up in such a diverse racial community. Grew up teaching dance classes at Greenwood Cultural Center, like in the 90s. And,
I like that you took the mindset of, I want to educate other white people. To me, that's the only standpoint that we can take, because we can't. I mean, they know.
Everybody else knows.
They understand. I mean, they've got family that lived through it and all of that.
Nor am I trying to re-traumatize anybody.
Certainly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it would be like trying to go and retell the bombing story. It's like, yeah, I was in the neighborhood, but I didn't lose anybody.
Right.
So I can't speak from their point of view.
Right.
So I love the stance that you took and realizing, and like I said, realizing, okay, I've gone as far as I can go. Now we're going to put it away. Because there is the aspect of beating a dead horse.
Well, yeah, and also, Rilla wrote that book at a different time as well. She wrote it in the late 90s, I believe, early 2000s. So she even said, like, I think if I was to write this book now, it wouldn't be the same book.
Certainly.
It would be totally different because of where we are now as a society and as white folks becoming more enlightened on the topic.
So you spent 20 years in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
What did that chapter teach you that you don't think you could have learned anywhere else?
Oh, God. How the hell do I answer that succinctly? You said we weren't going to be here 2 hours. That is like a 4-hour question. What do everything? I am who I am because I did that, because I had the chutzpah and the innocence and the ignorance to throw myself into this crazy city. I'm married to my husband because of it. I have a lot of the best friends that I have because of it. I have the child I have because of it. And yeah.
No, I like it. I mean, yeah, there are a lot more details we could dive into, but I love it. So you started while you were up in, I guess, up in New York. You started working in movement, anatomy, all of this stuff, performer wellness. How did you get into all of that?
Okay, so, I said I started as a dancer, which I did, and then, got my classical theater training, and then when I was living in New York, I was teaching a bit, musical theater summer camps and that kind of thing in Bergen County, New Jersey, and, um, I did, of course, the bartending thing for years and the waitressing thing for years, and it was really getting to the point where I was like, "I'm almost 30, I need to, you know" not really settle down, but I need to refocus or something. And I kept saying to my husband, there was something in me that always was like, I really want to go to massage therapy school. I really want to go to massage therapy school. And finally one day he's like, are, are you actually going to do that? Or are you just going to keep talking about it? And I was like, fuck you. Of course I'm fine. So I went and applied and got into the Swedish Institute in New York, and really learned all the anatomical information that I felt that I probably should have learned much, much sooner as a dancer and also as an actor, because also I had injured myself or seen people injure themselves in nearly every show I had ever done for various reasons,
Sure.
And so I just wanted to learn more about my instrument and about the human anatomy. And the whole time I was in massage therapy school, it's like I didn't realize I was doing this consciously, but it's exactly what I was doing, was like, oh, how does this apply to performing? How does this apply to acting? How does this apply to... And so after I finished that and I was working as a massage therapist, I was one night hanging out with my neighbor and friend, Charlie Sandlin, who owns and runs the Maggie Flanagan Acting Studio in New York City. And I was just like, I just feel like this information would be so helpful for young actors. Like, I wish I had had this information when I was younger. And he was like, come teach it for me. This sounds exactly right up the alley of what we do. Like, that makes perfect sense. Do more research, bring it into me. What do you, write a curriculum. And so I did. And I would say, yeah, I think it was like 7 years, 5 years, something like that I created and did this class through that studio. It's a fantastic Meisner studio in New York City, by the way. I always tell kids, like, especially if you're not from money, if you want to go into acting and that's all you want to do with your life, don't spend money on a degree. Like, just go to New York, go to this amazing studio and get the training you want to get, and then see how far that takes you and what you need to do next, rather than, getting yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt, when you're in your 20s. But that's neither here nor there. But the where was I going with this? Yeah, so I started teaching there, and it was successful.
So you developed your own little program.
Yeah.
So what is the focus of what you were teaching?
It was called Anatomy and Self-Care for Actors. So if you don't know your instrument inside and out, you're not going to be the healthiest performer that there is. It's like we're athletes to a certain level, and you never know what each show is going to put you through, right, physically.
Sure.
So I did a production of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof at Fulton Playhouse in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we were on a raked stage. And me, Brick, and Big Daddy all went down with injuries that required us to go to physical therapy because of this idiotic stage design that we should have learned from hundreds and thousands of years ago when they changed it, back in Greek and Roman times. They suddenly realized, oh, let's put our audience on a rake. That's going to be better than having actors on stairs. Anyway, so that was part of it. These injuries that I'd had, spraining an ankle, not getting proper dance shoes for numbers I'm supposed to dance in, and how to really push for what I need for my body. It's like, yes, I know these shoes look amazing with this costume, but I can't dance in them without hurting myself. So I need the shoes. That kind of a thing, advocating for yourself as an actor as well. And it's hard to do that if you don't have knowledge about your own body,
Right.
and what is possible and what is an unreasonable expectation for a performer. So yes, and I did also go into like the self-care of the mental side of the game, of like, the amount of rejection that you have and how to handle that and what to do with it and how to frame the work you're doing on a daily basis, not by some outer idea of success, as we said before. Like, what is success? How do you define that? Success is doing what you set out to do every day and doing it well, no matter the outcome. And so, I would encourage kids and students to really, like, just be proud that you're even doing this and that you're getting better in your craft every day.
Yeah.
Yes, of course you need to eat more than ramen noodles and tuna fish, but
So sustenance is a whole other topic.
But you also need to understand that you're not a terrible human being because you've had 100 auditions and you haven't booked anything that you liked yet. Oh, I booked that one thing. Okay, well, it's a numbers game, so let's frame it that way, and don't hinge all of your happiness on what happens with each audition or not. That's a horrible roller coaster to live on. So
I've heard a couple of actors use the ideology, and they would say that my job as an actor is to audition.
Mhm.
The reward is getting the role.
Well, you could always think the reward is actually getting the audition.
Sure.
Your job as an actor is to go to the gym every day. It's to work on your instrument, your vocal, whatever, your dance form, your technique. The reward is getting to perform in a room for somebody.
Yeah.
And the potential of getting a job is like, that's kind of got to be the icing on the cake, at least in how you think about it, or at least that's my experience.
Yeah.
Or it's really devastating.
Yeah. Yeah, if you hang up on all the no's, I mean, even, doing voiceover work that I do, people always talk about you're going to get 15 to 20 no's before you ever get one yes, or probably more than that. And so if you're hung up on every time somebody says no, you're never going to get anywhere, and you're going to quit and burn out and all that kind of other stuff. So, yeah. And I love the fact that a lot of times as actors or performers or whatever, we're so focused on the work on our voice, but not about our body. And so I love that.
Same thing.
It's still a muscle. We've still got to, work it and exercise it and train it and all of that other stuff. I love how you said we're athletes, just because we're not on a court or on a field or whatever, we're still, theater is a sport. I don't care what people think.
Be doing stage combat or farce or whatever. Yeah.
When you look back at your years in New York City, what are you most proud of?
I'd say probably the life I created there, the connections I created and the friends I created, and just the life I created there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you come back, you do the memorial for the race riots. How did that lead to Riverfield?
In a very non-linear way. From that, I got some job doing some work writing and directing sort of commercial stuff in the sort of activism arena. And then from there, I just totally took some random, marketing job for a company because it's really all I could find or get. I didn't know Riverfield existed.
Neither did I, by the way.
At that point in time, a lot of people don't. It's like Tulsa's best kept secret. And so, just randomly, I was thinking I was going to end up taking another massage therapy gig because I just didn't think there was really anything else I could do in Tulsa at that point. And I guess there were some folks here that had had their eyes on me for a little while, and the theater teacher that they had wasn't a good fit, and so she was leaving, and they reached out to me, and it was right before I took this other gig, and I almost wasn't going to do it. And then a friend of mine was like, "No, I used to nanny for a kid. You've got to just go see the campus. Like, you're going to fall in love with it. You like that. If that is the place to be, if you want to teach in Tulsa." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go look." And yeah, I kind of got sold as soon as I came onto campus. I was just like, "Oh my God, this place is amazing."
So what interested you or intrigued you or hooked you or pulled you, whatever, into teaching?
Well, I've always loved teaching, right? So because I taught in New York, and in the ballet dance world, I grew up paying for my classes, in middle school and high school, partially by, demonstrating and teaching and helping take care of the younger dancers. So I always had done that, really. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. I'm like third or at least generation teacher, my uncle was a teacher. It's just, I don't know. And like I said, like when I was in school, I would hang on to things like, oh, this would, if I ever had to teach a class in this, I'm going to want to keep this printout or whatever, So I just always sort of thought like a teacher, if that makes sense. So and I wasn't sure how it was going to go, because when I was in my 20s and I was teaching, uh, you know, like full time at camps or whatever, I was like, "Oh my God, this is so hard. Like, I can't, this being a teacher would turn me into an alcoholic. Like, I need at least 2 drinks when I get home to like chill out, But you mature, and I don't still feel that way. I love it. I absolutely love it because I get to create theater
Absolutely.
and I get to do what I want to do. Obviously, it's based around what's right for the students.
Sure.
But we've gotten to do some really cool stuff in the short amount of time that I've been here, because it's only been this is my third school year, and this is like my 6th semester. Um, and we've gotten to do some really cool stuff, and I've made such great connections with these kids, and watching them grow, even just on one show, is amazing, from opening night to closing night. Just those 4 or 5 days in there are just, the jump that they make in their growth is so huge. And then now that I've been here 3 years, the kids that are about to be seniors next year were freshmen when I got here, or the ones that are going to be freshmen next year were 6th graders when I got here. And I've gotten to know them and their families really well and seen how much they've grown. And there's just something really cool and gratifying about helping people become better artists, but also better humans. And,
I hear that as a common thread from theater educators, that what we do or what you do as educators with these kids isn't just about performing a role on stage.
No, not
That
close.
and as I do this and I research and I talk to people, the things that we learn as theater kids,
Mhm.
which again is not an insult.
Oh my God. It's the biggest compliment you could ever give someone.
Absolutely.
And if you
But
don't get that, goodbye.
yeah,
What are you doing here?
but the things that we learn touch so many other things in this world, that success for just about anybody professionally is almost not attainable without the key things that you learn in theater.
I teach hygiene. I teach how to hang your clothes on a hanger properly. I teach, um, how to work with people you don't like. I teach self-confidence. I teach
Mm.
how to not look so awkward in your body, even if you feel awkward in your body. All things I never would have thought that I was going to be teaching.
Right.
The
You ever have those moments where you're teaching and so you're teaching something like that and you just stop and think, where did that come from?
it's the hygiene conversations that I have to have on every show. And I I now keep bottles of deodorant
Yes.
in my office, and I'm like, here they are, guys. Help yourself.
Right.
We all are working very closely together. You must be kind to your coworkers and smell good. Sorry, that's just the way we got to do things around here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you brought that anatomy and self-care, and you teach it here as well.
Kind of. I do. The the sad thing, the hard thing, is that I only in class time get any particular group of kids for only a little less than 2 hours a week.
Okay.
So that's not a lot of teaching time. Then obviously those that are in rehearsals are with me several more hours a week, but we're, actively working on putting a show up. So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I apologize. What was the question?
No, that's fine. That's fine. So you come here. What was the theater atmosphere like when you came here?
Well, so the year I arrived here, they had just built this brand new building called the Center for Creativity. And the Center for Creativity sits in the middle of the campus. We have the lower school to the north and the upper school and middle school to the south. And um, before that, I guess they just kind of performed in the cafeteria, or they'd have to rent spaces at the PAC and drive far away to do what they needed to do. Whereas now we have this beautiful little black box theater. It can seat about 125 if I have it configured correctly. This is my first time. We're doing Radium Girls right now, and I'll be doing it set up theater in the round. So it's the first time we'll be doing that. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a few more butts and seats, I think, with this setup. But oh my gosh, my brain is like off. My brain is like, it's President's Day. You weren't supposed to think today. Where was I going? What?
We're talking about the theater when you got here. What?
Yeah. Oh, yes. So so they were doing theater elsewhere, and then so we got into this space. I'm going to say 2 or 3 weeks before we opened our first production in, I think it was October of 23. So light grid wasn't even in yet. Curtains weren't even in yet, but we made it happen. We made it work. And then all of those things came in later, which was great. But, when I got here, the previous teacher had, like I said, not been a good fit. Apparently the previous couple teachers had been. One had been, and she was still here when I got here, but she had moved into a counseling role. And she was wonderful at that. And she was invaluable to me that first year of just like telling me about the kids and like which kids she would like to see get back into theater and all these things. But when I got here, there were 2 kids in the theater program, period. And so they said, you're going to have to build this program. And by the end of the first year, we started with Orphan Train, and then we did Mean Girls the Musical. And I think I had almost 50 kids working on that production.
Nice.
So the end of the first year. Yeah, and we only have about 26 to 30 kids per grade at this school. It's a small school, so to have 50 kids is like 2 full grades of the high school that we have, even though it's spread out between, 6 to 12th graders. So, yeah, and so I've just been adding and building since. We've done the English Speaking Union's Shakespeare Festival for the last 3 years now. Which has been a lot of fun and a fun learning and performing opportunity for those that excel in their Shakespeare work. And yeah, we're going to ISAS again this year and doing Addams Family, which we did in the fall of this year. Last year we did Chicago, which was a blast. When I learned that the kids didn't know about Fosse, I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. And that really was a blast. Because we had the whole music department, adults coming in and playing. I think we have a quartet, I think, of musicians.
Nice.
Playing live music, which was fantastic. We've got to make that happen again. But yeah, so it's been, and we were the first program in Oklahoma to get licensed to do Harry Potter and the Cursed Child through the Broadway licensing competition thing that we submitted to. So that was pretty
I
cool.
was gonna say that was a big deal.
And that was only my second year. I mean, I won it the first year I was here, so I felt very good about the work that I got done that first year and the second year too. And this
Yes, that's like a millennium jump from
what it was.
just fake kids
Yeah.
to bring and do this. I mean, I've seen clips of the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child from Broadway,
Yeah.
and I've seen your facility, and I'm like, how?
It was so difficult.
I mean, there are special effects, and there's this, and there's a dragon, and there's
Magic and
yeah, and it's like how, but you did it,
we did it.
and I've seen the photos in the hallway, and of just there's this beautiful production in this
Thank
black
you.
box theater. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was really, really proud of that one.
So, you said this year's Addams Family has it's your biggest set. Is that correct?
Huge. It was huge. Yeah. Yes, it was the biggest set by far.
What excited you most about the technical growth that you're seeing?
Oh, well, so I think the first year we had 4 students in tech theater and they were all like silent. Like it was so hard getting any of them to talk at all. But they were good and they're all seniors and graduating this year now. Which makes me so sad. But yeah, and now we have 2 different classes of technical theater students, and I want to say I think I got like 18 students.
Awesome.
So 4 to 18 in a couple of years.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, so many theater programs miss that side of it.
yeah.
It's just they wait and see if a kid comes and asks about it just to put them behind a board or whatever.
No, I need them badly. I can't do it. I'm not running around like a chicken. I mean, I'm already running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yeah.
I mean, I try not to be, but
And even set construction. Yes,
Yeah.
I know it's scary to put a power tool in the hand of a 16-year-old, but
oh no, they're totally capable. They're totally capable.
absolutely.
We put at this school, we have power tools in the hands of toddlers.
Oh my
I kid you not. So by the time they get to me, they are like old pros at
Oh, there you go.
doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I also there's an amazing just our whole community here is so locked into the arts and so helpful in so many ways. Like I had a parent who came and helped. He's a huge Halloween guy and does a whole thing in his front yard and backyard every year. And he came and helped build like the mausoleum and one whole side of the set for Addams Family. And then, yeah, just people going, hey, I have this. Do you need this for a production? I'm like, yeah, I'll absolutely use that. And I'll just send out an email that says, hey, we need a rocking chair and some rocks glasses and a couple of canes and 45 million newspapers. And like within a day, there's like stuff being left outside of the door. I mean, they're amazing. And our maintenance department, literally, I couldn't do it without the maintenance department because as much as I have the kids do, and they do a whole lot, I still need the construction to hold up.
Sure. Absolutely.
So our maintenance department does the major like stair building and platform building. So I know that it's going to be safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, and I could not do it without them, but they're all on board. Like what other school has the maintenance department like help
Exactly.
building sets
Yeah.
or tearing it down,
Yeah.
which is amazing.
I remember back in the day when I was we had shop class.
Yeah.
And and they would build things for different places in the school.
Right.
Not anymore.
Yeah. We have industrial arts here, so they also have helped in the past.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you look at Riverfield today, from where in the last 3 years, from where you've come,
Mm-hmm.
what stands out as one of your proudest? I don't even want to say one of your proudest accomplishments, but just for the program, one of the proudest things that you can see.
Well, the Discovery Awards, which are the musical theater awards in Oklahoma for high school students, we won 3 awards last year. 2 were for technical theater and 1 was performance. So one of our performers got a honorable mention, Kat Connolly, and then our essentially, you know, only lighting designer student that we've had thus far. She's graduating this year. She's right now working on teaching a sophomore how to do it,
Awesome.
which is great. But she won Best Lighting Design for Chicago, and then we got Best Props award, which that was not
Yeah.
even in the realm of expectation. It was
Who
just
would
like
have
one of
thought
those
that's an
things.
award? Yeah.
I mean, this year's different. I guess they're going to be doing a lot more technical theater awards and recognition and participation with the students, which is cool. But just right off the bat, like our first year ever even being a part of the Discovery Awards to win 3 awards, it was like, oh, cool. Guess we're doing something right, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. I
yeah.
and I love that, because there's so many kids that and so many people that get the idea, well, I'm not an actor, so it's, but there's something in theater for everybody.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Even if you're not, a singer, dancer, actor, whatever,
Right.
what I told somebody here a while back, I even, and you don't see a whole lot of them around here, but even on those one-man shows,
Mm-hmm.
that's just one man on stage.
Right.
That doesn't count the dozens
Mm-hmm.
around that person that
Mhm.
make that show go off.
Yeah, for sure.
And kids need to understand that look, there's more than just being on stage. And those kids that are scared to death to get up there but they can operate a computer and design
Right. Amazing.
things that,
Yeah. Or 3D print me some props that are
Yeah.
incredible. Or yeah.
my 10-year-old grandson can whip through that computer like with his eyes closed, and I'm just like,
Exactly.
what? And so he does, Minecraft, and he's like, bing, or like, really? I'm like, "Well, okay, so yeah, we've got to have a place to plug these kids in as well. But again, same concepts, same ideas, teaching them just in a different direction. And I think it's great. I love it. And I love when I hear programs that are doing technical things. Because again, there are those programs out there that don't.
Mhm.
And I love.
Well, yeah, it just allows more kids to get to understand theater and
And
what
you
it
never
is.
know when that may pull them out there,
Yeah. I mean,
and they discover a talent they didn't know they had.
right. Exactly.
And that,
And they might end up going to college for it. And I always say too, like if you want a job in the theater, yes, be a designer, be a union member, be a stagehand. Like that's a good living. Like that's good, solid union work. And there's always jobs available. Was more than there are acting.
exactly. There's probably more jobs for the techies than there are for the actors.
Well, at certain times in history, anyway. I don't know. Lately, I don't know, but yeah, yeah,
Because again, you look at the sheer numbers,
yeah, yep, yep.
numbers on stage versus
Right.
numbers backstage.
Right.
The numbers are higher.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
the jobs are real. So,
That's true.
so looking forward,
Mhm.
what do you hope Riverfield Theater Company becomes in the next 2 to 5 years?
I would like our school to be known even more as a school for the arts that supports the arts and that has really good training across the board. And we do, we have an amazing visual arts program, rock music program, and film program. And so overall, I would just like us to be known for that more. And obviously for the good theater and acting training that you're going to get here. I really do teach like college level
Yeah.
stuff to these kids. And in some ways, they get it a whole lot quicker than my college students of the past have gotten it because they have less years of socialization and,
Sure.
judgments put on them. So it's cool now, like, especially with my middle schoolers. Middle school is a time of such self-consciousness and, oh God, who am I and who are my friends? And everyone's looking at me and everyone's making fun of me. And if I can just pull them out of that ridiculous mindset and just encourage them to play
Yeah.
and not self-edit, that's just a really good place for their brains to be living at for even just 45 minutes of the day,
Yeah.
and that weird hormonal time
Yeah, yeah.
period in life, you know.
It's like, just face it. You are weird.
Yeah.
We all are.
It's all good. Yeah. I'm all about
Embrace it. It was
let your freak flag fly.
That's it. That's it. Let's see what we can make out of it.
Yeah.
So what's this is an interesting one, and I wanted to make sure I left this in here. What's still on your personal artistic bucket list?
Well, personally, I want to do more film and TV work. But I also greatly miss performing for a live audience. And that's the one thing that I feel like Oklahoma needs to have more of, and in particular Tulsa. We're known for having such a funky, weird, cool sort of arts community, and yet there's no professional theater here.
Yeah.
There might be one role a year in Tulsa that gets money or
Yeah.
gets paid. Actually, that's not true. I think there's more stuff happening at the PAC now than before. I think they are.
Yeah.
But
and there's
but
only
not
one in
union.
Oklahoma City.
But it's not union.
Yeah.
And as somebody who worked so hard to become a union actor and who was raised in sort of that tradition and that, that level of work, I don't want to work below it.
Well, sure.
Maybe I'm spoiled, but
Well, I mean,
but it's such hard work, and I put so much of myself into my work that I can't do it for free,
understood.
which is why I'm teaching. Because it's a regular paycheck, and I still get to be creative and create and be in the rehearsal room. I mean, that sort of that fun, locked in sort of thing that happens in a rehearsal room where you get to ask questions.
Yeah.
And it gets everybody's minds going, and you're all collaborating and working on the same problem or set of problems, or that there's just there's nothing as delicious as that. I don't, so I feel so lucky to be making a living in theater. I know it is incredibly rare now, more so than ever. So yeah, I just
gotta keep it going.
Yeah, but I wish Tulsa.
Oklahoma in
I
general.
want to see more here.
Absolutely.
Tucson, Arizona has a beautiful little equity theater that I've worked at, and they're a smaller town than we are, like by a lot.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to me. I don't understand why.
Yeah, with as many
we haven't been able to make that happen.
Theaters that we have in Oklahoma, there's not a reason in the world why we can't have more equity. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%. So what do you hope that your students carry with them long after they leave your program?
This seems kind of silly to say because I think the majority of them have this already anyway. But I just want them to be good people and to, affect the world positively in whatever they end up doing and going into, being productive members of society and caring for other people and voting accordingly.
So as we start coming to the end of our time here together, since we last met, I have developed a kind of a way to end the interviews.
Okay.
That we call our casting or our curtain call curveballs. And so
It's a mouthful.
It is kind of a mouthful.
Curveballs.
So what these are, I've got a group of questions here at the end that, for the most part, they're just off the top of your head, whatever pops into your head. Some of them may or may not have anything to do with theater, but they're just random questions just to kind of end on a light note. Because sometimes we could have these interviews and they can get kind of heavy and, we hit topics and, so let's just end on a good note.
Okay.
So, let's see what we did.
Wait.
Yes.
I didn't get to finish that previous question about artistically, what do I still want to do?
Oh.
I want to perform in a musical.
Okay.
I would love to play Velma in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I want to direct Shakespeare here, like a full production.
Yeah.
And that's the end to that answer.
Yeah. And I love it when you're able to get a group of kids that interested in Shakespeare to do a big production?
I really wanted to do it this year, but I didn't feel that the buy-in was quite there yet. And I also wasn't sure that I was quite there yet, you know? But after this year, I'm feeling like soon.
Okay.
In the next couple of years.
I
think
hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so. I think that would be great. If you could teach a workshop anywhere in the world, where would you go?
London just came to my mind.
Okay.
I love it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But Australia would be great too.
What's one movement or wellness myth you wish would disappear forever? You ever hear that one thing that teachers might say to kids or others, whatever, and you're like, I wish they would stop telling them this? Maybe something was told to you some time back or long ago.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Okay. That to be an actor, you can't do anything else other than just act. Like you like if this is what you're going to do, you can't have a backup. You can't do other things. Or I think that's not correct at all. I think you got to follow your heart, whatever that is, and it'll lead you to where you need to go. And follow that gut voice that says you really need to do this, even if you don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, because everything that I've done, every job that I've done has led me to where I am today. For better or for worse.
Sure.
You know,
I think everything we go through.
it's been for the better.
Yeah.
So I think making people feel like if they have any other interests at all, they will never make it is a load of crap.
Good. Thank you. You're hosting a dinner party with 3 theater legends, living or dead. Who's at the table, and what's your first question to them?
Whoever the real Shakespeare is. Like who? Yeah, I don't know. I'm going down the conspiracy rabbit hole a little bit with that lately.
All of his work.
Well, then it wasn't this person, William Shakespeare from Stratford upon Avon, who was a lowly glove maker. Yeah, there's just not enough evidence to support that.
Yeah.
So whoever that is, God, I'm on the Shakespeare kick in my head right now. Ian McKellen.
You're focused.
Ian McKellen and Judi Dench. There you go. Those 3.
Go to that dinner.
I want to go to that dinner badly.
Yes.
Yeah. God.
Wow. And just ask them anything.
I would learn so much. Yeah.
Just ask them anything.
Yeah.
Okay. If your life had a theme song right now, what would it be?
Brush Up Your Shakespeare. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with it right now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That one's been popping in my head a lot lately.
What's a rehearsal moment, either with you or with the kids, that made you laugh so hard you had to step out of the room?
I can't think of a time that I ever stepped out of the room. I think I would just, because on a daily basis, I have massive belly laughs in that room out there.
As you should.
These kids are just...
Kids are funny.
So freaking hilarious.
Kids are funny.
Yeah, they're real patient with Miss Reiman. Big, ridiculous laughs that I have at times. And I know half the time we ran the whole of Radium Girls the other day for the first time. And there were certain moments, like these kids were just suddenly cooking in certain moments. And it would just make me giddy. And I would just big guffaw laughs out loud. And the rest of them are like around looking at me like, what is
Yeah, what's so
like,
funny?
They're not actually paying attention to the acting that's happening in front of them. You know, they're like talking to their friends or whatever. But yeah. But I like those moments because then it makes them go, oh, maybe I should be paying attention to what's happening here. There's stuff happening. Miss Reiman's enjoying herself. Yeah, exactly.
What's something that you geek out about that has nothing to do with theater?
Oh, Buddhism, anatomy stuff, psychology. That kind of has a lot to do with theater. Psychology. It's all coming back. There's a reason why I do what I do.
Exactly.
Kind of what I'm...
But it's that way. We figure out how art imitates life. Bring it all back to that. So, of course. Okay. Last thing. If you could give your younger self one note of advice, what would it be?
drink less, push yourself harder, don't lose your mind. It's not that big of a deal.
Oh, I like that one. Don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
That's very cool. I mean, and I think in a lot of these interviews and everything, especially with the educators, you could tell we're at a point, we're starting the second half of the year and minds are in 15 different directions, and
Filter is at a 0%.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Marta, thank you for agreeing to do this again. I really appreciate it. Had a great time, and I love the stories, and you can tell just how much fun you have doing what you do. And I think that's probably more important than anything else. I think right now, listening to you and seeing your reactions and everything, I think now you're living the dream.
Aw.
So
I am. I would have to agree with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
For everybody else listening at home, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for just being a part of our world for a few minutes, whether it's your drive or whether it's your time at home. We really appreciate it. We ask that you look into Riverfield Theater Company and the school. Come check this place out because they're not doing school the way you think they're doing school. I remember for the first time I was here, there's a lot of things different about this place, but apparently it's working, and that's really cool. So support them if you can. Check out their website and see what's going on. See if you can give them your support. I'm sure they would love and appreciate it. I will have their website and everything in the show notes, so check that out. But for everything else, no matter what you do, all we ask is that you continue to support the arts.